America, dude. I want you to tell me the history of Voice of America succinctly. No. I asked her because it came up.
History of Voice of America.
I didn't say it.
VOA. Origins. World War II, 1942 to 1945. VOA was created in 1942 during World War II to counter Nazi propaganda and provide accurate news to occupied Europe. It was originally run by the Office of War Information, OWI, and broadcasted in German, French, and Italian to undermine Axis narratives. Cold War era, 1945 to 1991, fighting Soviet disinformation. Afterward, too, VOA became a key anti-communist tool during the Cold War, broadcasting to Soviet-controlled nations like the USSR, China, and Eastern Europe. The Smith-Mundt Act, 1948, was passed to prevent VOA from being broadcast inside the U.S., ensuring it was strictly for foreign audiences. During this period, VOA expanded to include Radio Free Europe, RFE, and Radio Liberty, RL, to directly counter Soviet propaganda. Post-Cold War and global expansion, 1991 to 2010s. With the collapse of the Soviet Union, VOA shifted its focus to new threats like terrorism, authoritarian regimes, and censorship in places like China, Iran, and North Korea. In 2012, the Smith-Mundt Modernization Act allowed VOA's content to be accessed by Americans for the first time. Trump's attack on VOA, 2020-present. 2020, Trump appointed Michael Pack as head of VOA's parent organization, the U.S. Agency for Global Media, USAGM. Pack purged journalists and pushed pro-Trump narratives. 2025, Trump issued an executive order dismantling VOA, placing employees on administrative leave and ending operations, a move that heavily benefited Russia and China. Tab conclusion, VOA has been a critical tool for fighting foreign propaganda for over 80 years, countering Nazi, Soviet, and authoritarian misinformation. Trump's decision to shut it down marks a major strategic loss for U.S. influence, aligning with adversaries like Russia and China who seek to dominate global media narratives. Would you like an analysis of how this affects modern information warfare?
Yes. I'm learning here.
How Trump's shutdown of Voice of America affects modern information warfare. 1. Loss, influence in global media. Russia and China gain control of the narrative. Without VOA broadcasting independent news, authoritarian regimes like Russia, China, and Iran can push state-controlled propaganda with less opposition. Example, China's CGTN and Russia's RT and Sputnik already dominate in Africa, Latin America, and Eastern Europe. With VOA gone, U.S. influence weakens. Step, a free pass for Russian and Chinese disinformation. VOA fact-checked and exposed Russian war propaganda and China's suppression of Uyghur genocide reports. Now RT and China's CGTN can push unchecked lies without a U.S. counterbalance.
Insane.
Example, Russia spreads false claims about Ukraine being run by Nazis. VOA previously debunked this, but with its shutdown, fewer credible sources challenge it. East, weakening U.S. allies and democracy movements. VOA was a lifeline for dissidents in countries with censored media.
Yes.
Iran, Belarus, North Korea.
Yes.
Without VOA, activists lose access to uncensored news, allowing dictatorships to tighten their grip. Example, in Iran, VOA's Persian service was crucial for pro-democracy movements. Without it, the regime has more control over the narrative. Yet, strengthening Trump's domestic propaganda machine. While shutting down government-backed independent journalism, Trump has expanded MAGA-aligned media, turning outlets like Newsmax, OANN, and Elon Musk's X into pro-Trump echo chambers. This follows the authoritarian playbook. Step 1, shut down independent state media. Step 2, replace it with loyalist-controlled platforms. Step 3, flood the information space with propaganda while silencing opposition. Conclusion, Trump's shutdown of VOA is not just a policy shift. It's a strategic gift to authoritarian regimes and a direct attack on free press worldwide. By weakening America's ability to counter disinformation abroad, he has handed global information warfare victories to Russia and China, while solidifying his own control over U.S. media. Would you like to explore how this fits into Project 2025's broader